All right, what's up, guys? Today, I thought I would talk about how to stop being a coward. I know this is a topic that a lot of you guys are probably going to be interested in because there's a few different things in life that every man needs to know, or that he'll feel inadequate, or that he needs to be able to do. And in my own life, I felt like I was a coward because I was afraid of so much of life. And especially when it came to women, that was one of the things that I had to conquer. In the past few years, it had become something that really drove me forward in figuring out the psychology of this and why was I so afraid and how could I get over this fear. Let's talk about this. I know what it is to be a coward and why do you feel like a coward? Like I said, for me, I felt like a coward because I felt like I wouldn't get into battle. Like I did. I felt like I would run away. I wouldn't risk my life. I would be afraid to do that until what I did was I went and I joined Muay Thai classes and I got into the ring doing the actual sparring and actual fighting. And that sort of, triggered something in me. And I feel like it's really important to get punched in the face as a man. Why? Because when you get punched in the face, you start to realize that life, it's not that bad. Remember when you were a kid and you roughhoused with your friends or your siblings or whatever? It's the same fucking thing. How many times did you get smashed in the head or some crap like that happen? It happens. Now, I'm not saying that it's not dangerous to go out there and get into a street fight. You could get killed in a bar fight. It's true. But at the same time, it's not the end of the world for the most part. Like that fear is an irrational fear. And so for me, once I had been punched in the face, and it's not like I hadn't ever in my life, it was that, feeling of getting punched in the face and still fighting that made me realize that I'm not really afraid of this. Like I can handle this. At that same time in my life, or kind of around that time, I also started just actively conquering these fears. I went out there and I had a fear of roller coasters. I was afraid at one point to fly in airplanes. Conquered both of those fears. I've got a video on that. In fact, if you really want some in-depth training on how to conquer fears in the membership, I do have a lengthy video talking about exactly how to conquer fears, like a step-by-step process, what I used to conquer my fear of flying and my fear of roller coasters and talking to women, all that stuff. I was able to conquer all that stuff. So go check it out. There's a link down below. And you can join us in there. But if you're already a member, I would highly recommend that you watch that video if you have fears, especially if this is something that resonates with you as far as being a coward. Anyway, so that really helped me with that aspect of things. And then there came the woman part. And I think that was probably the part that plagued me the most in my life is, for a long period of my time on this earth, I had never cold approached a woman. I was afraid to do that. Like deathly afraid to do that. I remember back in high school, like early high school, like having this crush on this girl and just sitting in class and just, like trying to somehow, manifest her talking to me or something happening. And then finally get to this point where I wrote her this love letter, basically asking her out, and then handed it to her one day after school and ran away, basically. And to me, in my head, that was bravery. Now, looking back on that, it's cowardice. But to me, it was at least a step in the right direction. But that's as far as I had stepped for a long time. I remember one day, running on the beach, okay? And I remember seeing a girl and I was attracted to her and I was like, I had this wrestling in my head because I had this ego that I had developed over time. And I think this is what happens to a lot of us is we stay cowards because we have ego, because we have to dissolve the ego in order to stop being a coward. And I thought, John, if you really are this guy that you pretend to be, that you think you are, why don't you go and talk to that girl? And it was like, no, because I'm afraid. And what it finally came down to me was I kind of said John, you have to make a choice here. You have to decide, are you this guy that you claim to be, right? This strong, masculine, dominant guy, not afraid of anything, not a coward, brave, courageous, or not? Because whatever excuse that you make, there's no harm that's going to come to you from doing this. And we make all these excuses like, I don't feel like it right now, or now's not the right time, or whatever. None of those things matter. Like, you can't just go and talk to this person. Then you're a coward. And when I sort of processed that and it hit me, my feet just started walking in that direction. because I had this belief about myself and I didn't want to lose that belief about myself. And I think that's one of the keys, getting back to how to overcome being a coward, guys, is this. You have to have this belief about yourself. Identity is the most powerful force in the universe. But you have to construct an identity for yourself that you have to live up to. That is part of why Bulldog Mindset exists. This is where Bulldog Mindset came from. It came from this idea that I constructed for myself that I'm a fucking bulldog. And when I came up with that idea in my head, that made me do the things that I did. Because I'm a bulldog, this is why I'm gonna do this. This is why I'm gonna fast and I'm gonna run marathons and I'm gonna talk to these girls and I'm going to succeed in business. I'm gonna succeed at these things. I'm gonna be this guy that doesn't give up. Because it is what a bulldog does. That's what it really comes down to, is for a lot of you guys, if you want to get rid of this cowardice, the best advice I can give you is to form and shape a new identity that calls you to act in a certain way, right? As you believe this about yourself, as you start reinforcing yourself with these thoughts, I am courageous. I am a bulldog. I am a badass. Nobody can stop me. Like, that's the mindset that you need to have. You need to like crystallize that in your brain to start to say, yeah, I am a fucking badass. Like, nothing scares me. Shit doesn't faze me. I deal with shit. I conquer things. I'm a hard worker. I'm not lazy at all. I will go to whatever limit that I need to. There is no limit that I'll go to get what I want out of life. Nothing can stop me. Start cultivating that. And then you're gonna have to live up to it. And then you get into these difficult situations where you ask yourself this question: are you what you say you are, or are you a coward?